This is the story of OpenAI, the most valuable startup in the world that nobody knows about. OpenAI isn't like other startups. For the first 3 years of its existence, it had no product, no website, no social media presence, only a handful of employees, and no outside investors. Its existence was unknown to pretty much everybody except for a few dozen tech insiders, and then everything changed. In November of 2022, OpenAI launched ChatGPT, a conversational AI system that could write code, answer questions, summarize text, compose music, and do almost anything you want. In less than 5 days, it racked up over 1 million users, making it the fastest consumer technology rollout in history. Today, OpenAI is valued at $86 billion, more than Uber, Twitter, and even Facebook was at its IPO. So what is OpenAI? Who are the people behind this mysterious company? And why hasn't Google or Microsoft, both of whom have access to far more resources, achieved similar results? To understand what OpenAI has done, we first have to go back to its beginnings in 2015. You see, before OpenAI there was another company called Loop. Loop was a location-sharing app founded by a young entrepreneur named Sam Altman. Unlike other social apps though, Loop wasn't focused on likes, comments, and followers. It was focused on helping people meet up in real life. It was the precursor to Meet Groups and Eventbrite, but while these other companies exploded in popularity, Loop didn't take off. They did manage to get 20 million users, but Altman wanted more. He wanted to build an internet-scale business, so he started thinking about ways to leverage the one thing his company had plenty of: location data. That's when he met with some AI researchers and asked them if they could use his company's location data to predict where people would go next. And that's when everything changed. You see, while Altman was focused on location data, the AI researchers were focused on language data. They told Altman that they could unuse his location data to make predictions, because they were working on something bigger. They were trying to build an AI that could read all of the words on the internet and predict the next word in any sentence. What they ended up creating was a new kind of AI architecture called the transformer, which could learn from massive amounts of unstructured data and generate entirely new pieces of text. Today, we know this as generative AI. It powers everything from ChatGPT to Dolly to Midjourney, and all of this happened because of one simple question. Now, you're probably wondering, why did Google or Microsoft or any of these other big tech companies create generative AI themselves? Well, you'd think that these companies had every incentive to develop this technology, but they didn't. See, Google was the one who actually created the transformer. But they weren't so sure about the implications of this technology, so they didn't release it to the public. We have to remember that AI was already a controversial topic long before ChatGPT came along. There were concerns that AI would replace humans, that AI would be used for nefarious purposes, and that AI would exacerbate biases and spread fake news. These concerns led to regulations that forced tech companies to be more transparent and accountable for their AI practices. And given that Google was already under fire for its handling of user data, they didn't feel comfortable releasing a tool that could generate fake news and spread propaganda. So they shelved the project and tried to focus on other areas of AI like self-driving cars. This gave a small team of researchers from Google the freedom to explore the potential of generative AI without the scrutiny of the media or the government. This is the team that would eventually become OpenAI, led by a guy named Greg Brockman. This team consisted of just 7 people, including a former college dropout named Sam Altman. Together they took a page out of Steve Jobs' book. They set out to create the best AI technology in the world and then show the world how useful it could be. This is the exact strategy that Jobs used with Apple. He didn't believe that consumers knew what they wanted, so instead of asking customers what they wanted, he simply built the best computer he could and then showed the world what it could do. Jobs unveiled the Mac in 1984 with a now legendary commercial that demonstrated the mouse-driven graphical interface. Similarly, Brockman and his team at OpenAI decided to unveil their AI technology through a series of papers that demonstrated what it could do. The first paper they released was on machine translation. Their AI system was able to translate English text into French and German and then back into English with such accuracy that human translators were fooled. The next paper they released was on image generation. Their AI system was able to generate entirely new images based on a piece of text. The third paper they released was on text generation. Their AI system was able to generate entirely new text based on a piece of text. Each of these papers was a breakthrough in their respective fields, and each of them helped to demonstrate the true potential of generative AI. But this potential came at a cost. Training these models required massive amounts of computing power, basically an entire data center worth of computers. And this led to a problem. While these papers were groundbreaking, they also scared the shit out of everyone at Google. Even though these models were never released to the public, the mere fact that such powerful AI systems existed at all sent shockwaves throughout the industry. Executives at Google were worried that these AI systems could be used to generate fake news, spread propaganda, automate spam and scam emails, and commit fraud. To prevent this, they tried to limit access to these models. But as you can imagine, this backfired. Researchers felt that their work was being suppressed, and many of them wanted to leave Google. This included Sam Altman and Greg Brockman, who were both offered positions at Google but turned them down. After much soul-searching, they decided to start their own company, and in 2016, OpenAI was born. It took Altman and his team 2 years to raise money for this new venture. Most VCs were uninterested in investing in a company with no product and no website, and even those who were interested were put off by the lack of diversity in the founding team. Eventually, though, they did manage to raise $1 million from a group of tech insiders, including Elon Musk and Reid Hoffman. With this funding in hand, Altman and his team got to work on building the world's most powerful AI technology. In 2019, they released GPT-3, which was the first AI system that could generate human-quality writing. A year later, they released Dolly, which was the first AI system that could generate photorealistic images. And then in 2022, they released ChatGPT, which was the first AI system that could hold a conversation. Now, each of these releases was a breakthrough in its own right, but taken together, they demonstrated something even more profound. They demonstrated that AI was no longer something that was science fiction. It was no longer something that we talked about in theory. It was here, and it was growing exponentially. And yet, despite all of these successes, not everyone at OpenAI was happy. Many of the early employees felt that the company had strayed from its original mission to democratize AI and make it available to everyone. Instead, they felt that the company was becoming just another big tech company focused on profits and growth. This tension eventually boiled over and led to a mutiny. Several top executives, including the chief technology officer and the head of safety and ethics, left the company. And then Sam Altman made a decision that would change OpenAI forever. Instead of replacing these executives, he listened to their feedback and made changes to the company. He appointed a new CEO and chief operating officer, and he refocused the company on its original mission. This led to the release of ChatGPT in November of 2022, and everything changed. Within days, ChatGPT became the fastest consumer technology rollout in history. Millions of people signed up to use it. Tech influencers were raving about it, and investors were clamoring to invest in OpenAI today. OpenAI is the most valuable startup in the world with a valuation of $86 billion. And yet, despite all of this success, the company remains shrouded in mystery. Its technology is so powerful that many people believe it is too dangerous to be shared with the public. And yet, despite all of these concerns, OpenAI continues to push the boundaries of what's possible with AI. They've created tools that help us write code, create art, generate text, and even plan our days. And as they continue to innovate, we can expect even more amazing things from this mysterious company. This is the host with this channel. And if you want to learn how I make videos like these, let me know by tapping the link in the comments.